If you're a hybrid runner, training for Hyrox, training for athletics, and trying to improve your running, smashing a 5K PB, then this is going to be the video for you. Brown, and I run the Game Plan Coaching. This is my YouTube channel, and I have experience in improving people's running, their training, and their Hyrox results, from taking 25-minute PBs to qualifying people for the World Championships, sub 130 half marathons, and pushing people through marathons as well. So this is the video for you. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow for more videos like this. We're going to bring you the most value in order to help you get the best. So let's start with the common mistakes and the things that people do that put themselves in a hole. Now, first of all, one of the biggest problems that we see for people trying to improve their 5K is constantly trying to sprint all of their runs. They see a steady run, and I'm not trying to hammer home zone 2, but what I am trying to hammer home is people will go send. They'll run themselves into the ground. They will be running all the time. They'll be super fatigued, and they'll be getting very limited out of their actual training program because they have very low quality, and that's if they even have a training program. The next bit is a lot of people just run junk miles. They just run constantly to, 10K a day, 20K a day, 5Ks. One of the biggest problems we see when people are trying to improve their 5K for like a hybrid runner is just running 5K. They get their shoes on, they do a little tiny warm up, and they sprint for 5K and they go, I didn't improve. We have to have more variation, more structure, more support, more stability. We have to hone in on the strength training and the fitness work that we can do that isn't just running junk miles. People lifting too heavy before the days of running. So hitting high intensity days back to back generally will lead to poor recovery and poor performance. Generally in coaching and programming, we'll try to hit high intensity, low intensity, high intensity, low intensity. And that will allow our body to adapt and sort of recover from training whilst getting the best performance. Then one of the last bits which people get wrong is that they don't have any technique work. We see a lot of sloppy runners. Now, this is not my area of expertise, but if you're running with your head down, you're, bounding along and taking few steps and providing like massive amounts of impact when you run, then that is going to have a negative impact on your ability to produce speed, leg turnover, power, and endurance.
Completed 400 meters. Recover 1 minute.
So one of the things that we need to focus on is the hybrid training balance. So one of the biggest things for hybrid runners, smashing 5Ks, etc., is that they will struggle to balance strength, run performance, and also the other parts. So particularly Hyrox's hybrid performance, we have to hit a range of things. We need to do our strength training, we need to be powerful, we need to be fast, we need to do speed work, we need to do long zone 2 endurance work. There's a lot of things. And then I say to you, cool, and you also need to focus on your recovery, your stretching, your mobility, your inflammation, your nutrition, your hydration. It's like, whoa, all of a sudden, lots of stuff goes on. And then particularly people that are are new into it, they're starting up into it, we see the overwhelm immediately kick in and they think they've got to do 4 sessions a week training, because that's what they've been doing. They're going to do 3 runs a week. They need to stretch 3 times a week. And all of a sudden they're doing 10 sessions in 7 days. But they've never handled that training volume, and then they wonder why they get injured. So trying to balance your training in a structured way where you're doing 2 to 3 runs, 2 to 3 strength sessions, but also including in some of those runs the low zone 2 stuff. Perhaps that could be switched out for a bike. For the strength stuff, if you're training for a Hyrox, then perhaps you need to do some of the conditioning stuff at the finish, so the Hyrox, etc. These are all things that are going to make your training more balanced. And also, people shouldn't be afraid to double up. So it's a strength work and a run, allowing yourself to have a rest day the next day if necessary. Generally, we would advise to keep hard days hard, easy days easy, but having those fluctuating days will allow a massive amount of recovery and improvement. So what sort of training can you do for a 5K PB training sort of event for hybrid? First of all, we need to do speed work. Speed work includes doing things like intervals. So 400 meters, 800 meters, 1K reps. And the aim behind this is doing sort of 600 to 800 meter goal at a 5K pace or just below, but with a 90-second rest, so that your legs can get much, much better or at least more experience at running at those speeds. The second thing is like tempo and threshold runs. So this is trying to improve your VO2 max. It's trying to improve your ability to hold a pace under a certain level of fatigue. So for example, if your 5K pace is 5 minutes per kilometer and that's your target, then ultimately you would be able to then go and do a tempo run, and you'd say you might do 5K at 5:15. So it's a little bit slower than your race pace, but that's going to be hard. It's going to be comfortably hard. So 5:25, 5:30, but you go and do that for 25, 30 minutes. That's going to be working at a level of threshold that is very, very challenging, but you're not just trying to blast race pace every run. The third type of run that we recommend is a long run. So this would be lower, slower, easier, zone 2, zone 3, whatever you want to call it, but just comfortable running, 45, 60 minutes, building up that distance so that then when you do go and run the 5K, it's a lot easier to do. Then the other things that you need to do is strength running. So not maxing out weekly training, but explosive training, endurance or strength endurance training, weightlifting, split squats, RDLs, sled pushes, single leg work are all going to help with your ability to run well. And then also focusing on running form techniques. So arm swing, cadence, lots of steps, posture, breathing. Focus on keeping your chest up and breathing in and out, etc., rather than trying to hold your breath. That in turn will have a knock-on effect. Then one of the things that people will neglect that is really important for improved performance is your recovery and your progress. So the importance of your rest days are super high. Sleep, nutrition, hydration, tracking your progress. So you're using time trials or park runs or something that is going to allow you to test your pace in order to see your improvements, but also to make sure that you're focusing on actually having some downtime. One of the best ways to do it is to use RPE to monitor your intensity. If you've got a watch or a heart rate monitor, then that's fine too. But generally would recommend really trying to pay attention to what's hard, what's not. And then the final little piece from me is sort of almost race day tips or your attempt tips. The first thing is you always want to try and go through negative split. So again, if your pace target is 25 minutes, that's 5 minutes per kilometer. Generally, you wouldn't want to see someone going out of 440s, 450s, because we know they're going to slow down. They might hold it for the first 2, then they'll be at 5, then they'll be at 5:10, and then it's going to be very, very hard to kick on for that last kilometer to bust under that target. When you're doing this, think about your target, think about your time target. So again, if it's 25 minutes, think about doing your first 3K at 5 minutes a kilometer, then push on for the 4th slightly, and then make the 5th almost a sprint in order to push really hard. But negative split, allow yourself to feel good, warm up properly, know what your split should be, write them on your arm, write them on your watch, what should your first K be, what should your second, etc. And also make sure you understand that in a 5K attempt, the last kilometer is going to be really, really hard. So you need to focus on that. So they're my top tips and help and support to give you the structure to organize your training program, your recovery, and also certain targets and tests that you can do in order to achieve your goal. So first of all, like and subscribe if you found this useful. Comment your current PB and your next goal. And if you want to look at taking your next steps and getting into more hybrid performance, then head over to the link in my Instagram bio @TravisBrownCoaching to join one of our hybrid programs. This is Couch to Hyrox and our Hyrox Accelerate program. So if you want to know more, drop us a message on Instagram, let us know, and we can't wait to get you